sometimes in my close relationships, I overreact. I don't know if that's something that you do, but certainly something that I do. And there are obviously ways that we can work with that process of reactivity, the in the momentness, and I've talked about that elsewhere. But there is one other method which is so fantastically useful and can actually stop or even help us avoid that descent into those moments where we're really in a messy place with somebody else. The work comes from, or the approach rather, comes from somebody called John Gottman. And John Gottman is a very well-known researcher into marriage. He can apparently predict with 90% certainty whether a marriage is going to work. One of the pieces of information that he has done a lot of research into is how we respond to positive and negative input. And what he's found is that we actually need a lot more positive input to balance out the negative. So for that one sharp comment, really we need 4 to 5 pieces of positive input to actually redress the balance, which is quite something, because you can think about those moments of hyper reaction that maybe it's come at the end of a comment after a comment after a comment after a comment. Even if they're not that serious, it can actually lead to this build-up, and then the system responds with that reaction, which doesn't seem appropriate to the trigger. So what we can do, and this has proven to be incredibly useful to me, and I work with it or use it in personal relationships and also in professional relationships as well, is find a positive thing to appreciate about the process or the person or whatever you're doing. Now, it has to be appropriate to the situation and the person, obviously. But it's that finding of something which starts to create that positive bond, that feeling of appreciation in the other person, and that sort of warmth that can be reciprocal. You can use it in the midst of a difficult encounter. Sometimes that can work, but it seems to be much more powerful if you use it outside of it. You could use it to sandwich or to begin a difficult conversation. You can use it consciously with somebody and say, hey, shall we just say a few things positively? And you can just use it throughout your day, finding the little things or the big things which you really appreciate about how somebody has done something, how they've shown up for you, whatever it is. Now, there are a few things which are quite important, in my view. The first is you have to be authentic. You won't get away with it. It won't last. It won't have any positive impact on the bond if you just make stuff up or find something. You want to find something that you can really say that you appreciate about the person, and then they have a much better chance of actually being able to receive it. The second thing is you want to take it really as an experiment. And the reason for doing that is that it enables you to get it a little bit wrong and to find out what works better with one person or another person, and to really explore how to make it work for you and to see whether it's something that you do want to incorporate. And then there is this third area, which I think is very, very important, which is unless you're explicitly doing a process where you're saying, hey, listen, I'm going to find one thing that's nice about you, and then you try saying it back. Unless you've actually had that agreement, you have to avoid having any expectation of return. I mean, you have to just give it as a free gift of your authentic appreciation for the other person. Now, do you have to do this 4 to 5 times for every difficult thing? Well, that's what John Gottman's research says. I would take it slightly differently. I would say, why not just experiment and see what this does? Try it. It's interesting that what we focus on tends to grow in our awareness. And so there is this virtuous circle that gets created when we start doing this. And that can feel like a lovely thing to do, and can be a lovely thing to share with people that you care about. So give it a try. I'd love to hear from you if you find out how you find it working for you, or any challenges you have. And yeah, I really appreciate your listening to this video.